Hi, everyone. I am Anna, and welcome to today's message. Today's message is Transformation in God's Grace from Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. This verse is a powerful call to transformation in our lives, and it's about not falling victim to the world, but choosing renewal of our mind and spirit. It is a call to think, act, and ultimately live different to align with the will of God. Now, I want to share this with you. I never know from one day to the next what I'm going to speak about. God always gives me a message, and in being obedient, I just do the writing in the videos. He somehow makes it clear what today's message is supposed to be about. And I mean, when the same verse shows up 4 places in 1 hour, well, I think that's a sign, right? So today I wondered, how often have you found yourself simply doing something because everyone else was doing it? And how about the times that we chose not to do something because we were worried about what someone else might think of it? Or worse yet, what they were going to think of us. I used to be like that a lot, and that's why I'm speaking about it today. I spent a lot of my younger life being criticized by other people, and I always took it to heart. And it was hard for me sometimes to discern whether I was getting constructive or destructive criticism. If I was told to do something different, I felt inadequate, sometimes angry, and at one time in my life, even desperate to escape a job I had because it was so overwhelming. And it wasn't just about what was being said to me, but the emotions tied to it. My past experiences in life that had come to the surface. And I wanted to run away, and sometimes I did, especially in my relationships with others. It took me a long time to learn why I felt that way, why a simple redirection would send me spiraling, and why I took criticism so hard. I know it was because it felt like an attack, and it robbed me of my self-identity, my self-worth, and I felt unsafe. And I learned that my responses actually came from a deeper emotional experience in my life, and that I needed to heal from some of that. Some past trauma, some harsh criticism, emotional, psychological, and physical abuse at the hands of someone else, abandonment and judgment, all that had left me with some deep scars. And I always felt like I wasn't enough. And I finally realized that my brain was processing it all as a threat. And the reason I ran away was because those past hurts were resurfacing every time. It was that experience that brings me here today. That experience that transformed me into who you see. Now, I had come under heavy influence of a culture that tried to remove my identity from God's truth. And I was required, I say required because God opened my eyes and awakened me to reflect on who I was and how outside influences had impacted my life, physically and spiritually. It took a great deal of pain, power, and faith to take a stand against the patterns and the people who just did what everyone else did and decided to stop being worried about what others thought of me and my actions. And my transformation in the grace of God began with what I've many times called a supernatural experience, and then a nudge to become a grief coach and begin this platform. And once I accepted the thought and knew that God was calling me to something more, I simply acted on it. What happened after that is simply a miracle to me. My mind began to journey into something amazing. And I could hear God calling clearly, leading me toward a plan that he was chosen for me. And I immersed myself in the Bible. I began to process forgiveness for myself and anyone who had hurt me, which was a very long process. And I began to study and meditate and journal daily. And as I began to align with God, I began to understand truths that I had never seen before in my daily life. You've heard about some of them on my platform. How music lyrics and signs and symbols, nothing looks the same to me anymore. And my actions were transforming my ability to see God's truth more clearly and make choices in faith that I would have never previously made. And I began doing things differently. And I began to not only feel love, but absorb light, love, and energy faster than I ever had in my life. I realized that every living thing has a soul, even the trees, the nature, all the things that people just take for granted. And incredible, amazing things began happening in my life. And now my testimony has been witnessed by at least 60,000 people around the world in my daily messages. It's just simply amazing. So today's message is this: God beckons us to a deeper relationship with Him. We choose the transformation in our life. And if we don't, well, He gives us a repeated pattern until we do. It begins in our heart and then in our mind. It leads us to a personal and spiritual growth and to our journey and our mission. So today, accept God's invitation in salvation through faith and transform through Christ. Choose His good, pleasing, and perfect will for you. And choose to end up like me, a person who lives in total peace, someone who lives a meaningful life, someone who's found joy in living God's will and unconditional love. Because, my friends, love is the answer. If this resonated with you, please like and share my post. And thank you for your donations to my divine mission and for helping me to keep my messages alive. I'll see you next time.